Hey love, welcome to Made by Justine. I'm so happy that you are here, and I wanted to show off my cute little sweatshirt. Like, it's giving spooky season, it's giving cuteness. In today's video, we are going to make a Halloween wreath, but it's a very disco vibes, like very vibrant colors, very girly. So if you want to learn how I created this very cute wreath, feel free to keep watching, and don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if something you like. Step one is to gather all the materials, and we are going to place the pipe cleaners onto the wreath. Now remember, all the supplies will be listed in the description below. We are going to put the pipe cleaners on one end, then we're going to put it in the middle, and then on the other end where the lines go across the wreath. So if you look in the video, one is towards the center on the line, one is towards the outer in the middle, and then one towards the center in the different line. So you're going to repeat that pattern all the way through. So now that we have all of these on there, you can put more. I just prefer to do it this way, and I had to use extra colors, which is fine because the wreath is going to have these colors anyways. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to cut out our geo mesh pieces. Now this pretty pink was from Michael's. Again, I will list all the links down below. I decided to go with 20 inches in length for each piece, and it ended up doing its job. You want to cut the amount of pieces for that match the amount of pipe cleaners that you added to your wreath. So just count out your pipe cleaners and then cut accordingly how many pieces you need. Next, we are going to take this orange geo mesh. I got this from Dollar Tree, and we are going to cut the same amount of geo mesh pieces with the same size. So I went with 20, so I'm going to do the same thing with this one as well. Lastly, we are going to do the same thing with this beautiful neon green. Again, I was going more for a disco feel, Halloween girly wreath. Same thing, cut it out till 20 inches and cut as many pieces that you need for each pipe cleaner that's on the wreath. The next step is we're going to take one piece of the geo mesh. It doesn't matter what color. I'd say keep the same pattern though. So if you start off with pink, use pink. And then we're going to hold on to our geo mesh and kind of squish it and crinkle it all the way down, keeping your fingers in the center as you're slowly bringing in the geo mesh to kind of create like a mini bow. And by the time you're done and have it all, it should look something like this. And then you're going to do the same thing with each color, which creates a cluster of 3. So you're going to do this with the orange, and you're also going to do this with the green, all utilizing and not letting go of the previous color. This was the first time that I did this, so it was a little tricky at first, especially with the Dollar Tree geo mesh, because they were like extremely curly. As you can see, it did not want to stay straight. So take your time with it. Just try to make sure you're pulling from the middle and scrunching it all between the pieces, or you can do 2 pieces at a time and throw the third one in later on. The next step is we are going to add our cluster of 3 to the wreath by keeping that cluster pinched together and then placing it right in the middle of the pipe cleaner and then twisting the pipe cleaner so that way it holds. It creates this beautiful flower bow type of feel, and then you're just going to fluff it out just a little bit. Don't worry about fluffing it out so much, because when we add more, we'll be able to really lift it up and it will give it a fuller look. So you're going to repeat this process for every single pipe cleaner, making sure it has the cluster of 3 and adding it to the wreath. Doesn't this wreath look so good already? I cannot believe how full it looks. I'm absolutely in love. It is time to pull out our mesh tube. I got this from Dollar Tree, and then our 2 ribbons. One of the ribbon looks like a little disco ball. I thought this was so cute. It was at Michael's. And then the other ribbon is kind of sheer, but with like rainbow confetti, and I thought that went with the disco girly vibe for Halloween, because I'm not a spooky girl. I'm more of like a girl's girl for Halloween. Like, give me the Mickey Mouse versus the ghosts and goblins. But you're going to take the black ribbon. I decided to go with 10 inches, so you're going to cut the amount of ribbon that you need for each pipe cleaner that's on the wreath. The next step is you're going to take your ribbon and you're going to fold it in half, matching both ends, and then you're going to do a diagonal cut to kind of give it a ducktail or fishtail end for each side. So again, fold it in half, cut it diagonal, cutting it outward, and this will create that fishtail look. For the next step, we are going to take the other ribbon, kind of measure it out and see how big or small do we want it. So I ended up going with 8 inches for the disco ribbon. So it's a little smaller than the black one. And then you're going to do the same thing. You are going to ducktail both ends by folding it in half and cutting a diagonal straight through to create that fishtail ducktail look. The next step is we are going to cut out our mesh tube. At first, I was cutting about 6 or 7 inches, and I realized it was way too small. So I ended up going with 10 inches. And again, you're cutting as many pipe cleaners you have on the wreath. The next step is you're going to take your ribbon and you're going to scrunch it in the middle to create a bow tie kind of looking thing. And then you're going to add your mesh tube right in the middle as well, making sure both sides are kind of even. And then you're going to place it right on top of the pipe cleaner and tie it down. Some people untie the pipe cleaners in order to then add it to the cluster with the geomesh. I don't, because I'm clumsy and it makes a mess. So I just put it right on top. You really can't tell the difference, and you're going to repeat this process throughout the wreath for each cluster of where the pipe cleaners are, along with your ribbons. One tip that I want to share that really creates a fluffier, fuller look for the wreath is to really separate the ribbon and then kind of creating like a folded, pulling it up and folding it down a little bit towards the wreath, because it creates it to look and seem more fuller that way. The next step is to cut off the excess pipe cleaners on each section of the wreath. Don't worry, we're going to hide them in the next step. The next step is we're going to add our embellishments. So I found these disco pumpkins, and I'm going to use a hot temperature hot glue gun to glue them down. I'm not going to put them every single place where there is the pipe cleaners, because we're going to add a different embellishment as well. Now that we have the pumpkins on the wreath, I'm gonna use these bulbs, I guess like kind of like ornaments, and take the top off and hot glue them and place them in the areas where there's not a pumpkin to cover the rest of the pipe cleaners on the wreath. Next step is we're going to take our ghost. Now this ghost was supposed to say boo in Dollar Tree, but it didn't have it. So I ended up taking some foam roses and adding a little crown to her because we want to make her cute and not spooky. The next step is I'm going to take a pipe cleaner and I'm going to tie her to the ribbon that she already has, and then I'm going to push the pipe cleaner through the wreath to the back and kind of pull her all the way through, along with tying it in the back so that way she's secure. I absolutely loved how this came out. I hope this was extremely helpful, and happy spooky season for those of you who love to be scared, because it's not me. And I'll see you in the next video.